The first thing I'd like to do is to tell you that the way we always start these sessions is we use this system called intuition testing that I'll be using throughout the session. And intuition testing is a way of being able to amplify and make more obvious our intuitive knowing. Because the reality is actually everybody knows everything all the time in every moment. And this is because we have this amazing phenomena. I won't go into all the technical details, but there's something called neutrinos, which are the tiniest subatomic particles that exist so far that they've found. They're produced inside the stars, and they spew out in every direction. And in every single moment, millions of them are penetrating every square centimeter of our body. And the interesting thing about the neutrinos is that when they pass through something, they carry the information of that thing. They pick up the energy of that thing. They're so tiny that they don't bump into anything. They just pass through it. But they pick up the energy of something, and then the next thing they go through, some of that energy is transferred into that next thing. So in every single moment, we have these millions of neutrinos passing through us with all the information from everywhere in the whole universe. So we actually in every moment know everything. But the problem is that's not very useful if you don't have a way of filtering out just the part of that information that you're interested in. So it turns out that we do have a way of doing that, okay? Because our mind doesn't experience what that information is. But as the neutrinos are passing through our body, we're getting all that information. But it's a little bit like if you had a radio in your car with no bandpass filter, no way to tune to a particular station, and you were getting all the stations at once. You wouldn't be able to understand anything. It'd be cacophony, right? It would just be total noise, okay? So the bandpass filter is the key to getting exactly the information that we want. Well, there's this wonderful simple technique of using the muscle's response to an inquiry or an intention to filter out just the information that we want to know. So, for example, if I have Dezi say, "My name is Dezi," please say, "My name is Dezi."
My name is Dezi.
And I test with my muscle like this. I'm pushing this finger up against this one, and the response is strong. And the strong response we're using as an indicator that there's a coherence or a kind of match between what she's saying and what she experiences in her body. So this is a way of getting a kind of amplification or an intuitive read on what's really going on with Dezi. So for example, Dezi say, "My name is Tom."
My name is Tom.
So I test that one, and obviously not. So the beauty of this technique is this allows us to guide the entire process of what we now call inner greatness optimizing, which is what this process, this new name, used to be called human software engineering. We can guide the entire process of the session using this muscle testing to determine which way to go. Is this the correct direction, or no, this, go off on a wild goose chase? So there's actually only one rule in inner greatness optimizing, which is test everything. Okay? So we make a test, and you'll be seeing me do that, and I'll hold my hand up and show you so you can see the testing that I'm doing. And I'll describe everything that it is while I'm doing. Now, even while Dezi's doing one of the techniques, and she has her eyes closed and she's sitting quietly doing that, from time to time, I'll be testing on her behalf, because my system is getting all the information from her, of course, all the information from the other 7 billion people on the planet, but through the intention that I have to test just for Dezi only, this filters out all the other stations, all the other information from everybody else, and allows me to experience and amplify what's really going on inside of Dezi. Okay. So this is an amazing technique. It takes a little bit to learn it. It's, to learn it properly takes about a day to get it right, and then to remove any of the barriers to trusting yourself and trusting the process to make it reliable. But we have fabulous training in that. I have to say, I train people to do that better than anybody else on the planet. So I have thousands of people who've learned how to do this and do it reliably.
Mm.
So there are many people who teach it and don't teach it adequately, and so that ends up being, people don't get it. It doesn't work reliably, and they say, "Oh, it doesn't work," and then they don't use it, and that's unfortunate. But here in this work, we teach people to do it reliably, so that it's really something that becomes an incredibly valuable tool, because this allows us to make unconscious things conscious. Right? And this problem of things being unconscious is really at the heart of most of the problems that people have. And you'll see that as we go through. There's something in Dezi that she's not getting about herself.
I can feel it, but I can't find it.
That's it. So it's very likely that whatever it is that's blocking her and causing her to not be able to resolve this anxiety that she's been feeling, there's some unconscious way of operating that she's not recognizing, and therefore also not being able to resolve. So there's two parts to the process. One is we have to find what it is, which we use the muscle testing and a proper path of inquiry in order to find it. But the second thing is, once we do find it, then we have these lovely, wonderful, precious pure awareness techniques, which are new insights based on new insights, simple ones, about how to resolve and actually completely dissolve and eliminate, neutralize the energy that's at the basis of that, what it is that's the unconscious thoughts that are causing the problem. So we're going to be using the muscle testing, and the place that we start with the muscle testing is something called the Where to Start chart. And the Where to Start chart, I'm not going to bother to do screen sharing and bring it up because it's too simple. Okay? It has 5 different levels to it. The first one is level of awareness or consciousness, which is where the pure awareness techniques work, where our whole process really works. Okay? And this is the level where we have thoughts, feelings, perceptions. This is all the things that are just at the level we could say vibrating awareness or vibrating consciousness. The second level is an energetic level. And we have a separate technology for that, which we use when we're working in person with someone. And we have a new version of that called the Quantum Energy Optimizer. And sometime I'll give a webinar about that. It's an incredible, fascinating device for getting rid of chronic pain, allergies, ADD, cell phone radiation stress, all kinds of stuff. We'll deal with that another time. Oh, air pollution. It's great for solving the symptoms of air pollution. It's amazing. Anyway, another time for that one. But it's also, the third level is what's called chemical level. This is obviously diet, nutrition, toxin, vitamins, minerals, all that kind of stuff. The fourth level is the physical level. This is when the problem needs to be addressed or solved at the level of, surgery or chiropractic adjustment, or rinsing out your nose with a neti pot, or taking a shower, walk, exercise, something like that. There's all the physical stuff. And then the fifth level is what's called the environmental level. And this is the level where there are other kinds of techniques for being able to resolve the returning influence of our past actions. You could think of this level as the third law of motion, which is that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So when we take an action, there's going to be some consequences to that action that's going to come back to us. This is just basically a law of physics. And people who know physics don't think like that, but that's okay. We know better. So I'm going to start by using the muscle testing to make sure that we're not starting in the wrong place, because millions of times a day, people are going to somebody who has a particular training, a particular range of skills and techniques and work that they do for helping people. And because people don't start with this Where to Start chart, they very often go to somebody and it's not the right methodology, it's not the right level at which to solve that problem. And so you've probably had the experience, I'm sure you've had the experience. You go to somebody and you go and you have sessions and it doesn't work. And the reason is because you're not approaching the problem where it truly lives, where the solution truly lives, okay? So we have this wonderful, simple method of avoiding that problem. And because of that, we get an extremely high success rate because we're starting in the right place. We're going down the right path. So I'm going to start with that and show you how that works. I'm going to muscle test on Dezi's behalf, if that's okay with you, which I'm sure it is.
Yes.
So just her permission and my intention. Now what's happening is I'm filtering out all those gazillions of neutrino streams, not letting those through the amplifier. The amplifier is the muscle test, right? And the bandpass filter is my intention, okay, and her permission. So on Dezi's behalf, we're going to test from the Where to Start chart. This problem of anxiety that Dezi has, our solution to that is 100% at the awareness consciousness level. Yes, it is. Okay. There's some contribution that would help for resolving this at one of the other 4 levels. No. Okay. Now, what I just did is called cross-testing. I tested one way, then I rephrased the statement and tested the other way. And when you do the cross-testing in this work, it just kind of helps to obliterate any doubts that you might have, because you get a different response but the same information. Okay, so we know we're going to use the right techniques. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to make sure that this is the optimal issue for this demonstration session. It is. Yes, it is. There's an even more important, higher priority, better topic to work on with Dezi today. No, so this is great. We know that, first of all, we have the right level we're going to approach the problem at, and we have the right issue to work on. Okay, this is kind of like a really solid foundation for making sure that we're going to have a successful result. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to help Dezi to clarify her intention. So we're going to now have a little bit of interaction. She's going to explain to us what's going on, what the problem is, and then we're going to clarify, okay, we know how it is, but how do we want it to be? What's the new reality we'd like to step into, okay? And so we're going to clarify that, and then we're going to check to see whether she's coherent with that, congruent with that, okay? Whether she's resonating with that or not. And clearly she's not, or she wouldn't even need
to be here.
Exactly. So let's start with that. Dezi, please explain to us a little bit about what's going on.